what up, y'all? Apparently I messed up the barb video. I gotta re-record it. I made a rogue video. It's about 3 minutes long. Shows you how I get infinite teleport with something I thought no one ever really used. Whatever it is. Da 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 da. Yeah, I just want to show you one of my favorite parts about the barb that I just feel like people don't stress. The barb, there is actually a couple other things I want to discuss too. It's going to be a little bit longer video than the rogue, but I'm going to try to jump right into it and make sure we don't hit a 10-minute mark on this video. Real quick. Okay, so, alright, so right off the bat, that main thing would be lunging strike. Okay, and this, how this is worded, what is this? Lunge forward and strike an enemy. I never really thought that that would be like a teleport mechanic. So yeah, one of my favorite parts about the barb that I feel like just isn't really necessarily discussed much is the actual spamming of lunging strike, using it as a mobility teleporting type mechanic, which is just amazing. It's one of my favorite parts about a barb. I'm actually on a hota build. Hammer the Ancients. When I used Whirlwind, I felt like Whirlwind stopped me from really seeing that teleport mechanic. But then when I had switched to hota, hota's more of a, you know, click, click, click type play rather than the channeling holding down. Even with that being said, though, even if I was to switch back to Whirlwind, I would probably still be teleporting all over the map with lunging strike now that I know a little bit more so how it works. Yeah, that's just one of my favorite parts with a barb that I don't feel like anyone really ever mentions, and that's just the fear part that you can teleport with lunging. Anyways, I think that's about it. There is actually a couple other things on a barb that yeah, I just wanted to go into. So I was experimenting with some of the things. You see here I'm missing a shout. That's because I wanted to try a second thing. I had already locked in Iron Skin. I was using that with Iron Skin. And the reason why is too, Ghostwalker's boots, right? Every time I hear someone mention Ghostwalkers, they always seem to discuss the movement speed and how these boots are for movement speed. Well, yeah, the movement speed's nice and all, but that's not why I use them. I use them because it basically increases my unstoppable for 4 more seconds. So when I have a what is this, rallying cry, for example, and it's active for 6 to 9 seconds depending on how long you got it for, what it does is it makes it so it's also an additional 4 seconds, right? So depending on where your cooldowns are at with your shouts, even if you had the worst uptime on your shouts, you can still have unstoppable permanent with Ghostwalker, basically, right? Or even if you just want to be playing a little bit lazier and don't want to die, right? And you want to be able to switch out. That's why I have Iron Skin here, right? Because Iron Skin acts as a second, with this talent, Iron Skin acts as a second unstoppable. Right? So now I have 2 forms of unstoppable on my screen. So this is just so I can lazily play and kind of, have a second source of unstoppable. Plus, I don't really think that there's much else I can put there. And what I mean by that is Warcry, for example. I don't need this extra damage. I'm already one-shotting everything with hota. Berserking, I don't need Berserking because I'm already permanent Berserking with lunging, basically. And I don't need extra damage bonus because I'm already one-shotting everything. I don't need extra Fortify because of this talent right here. What is this? Numbing Wrath, right? So that's why ultimately I had decided to get rid of, or not even, I also wanted to experiment, and obviously too before I was probably using Wrath of Berserker, and I had got rid of both of them. And that's when I had switched Ironing Skin in, which, anywho. One more thing I'm going to say, though. A big surprise sleeper for me, Steel Graphs here. So, this thing is amazing, in my personal opinion. I don't really see anyone using it or talking about it. I do see people running Kick, though. A lot of endgame barbs loving and running Kick. Well, hey, I personally love steel grasp. This thing does three amazing things that are just boom. Number one, it recasts vulnerable. Okay, infinite vulnerable, low cooldown, and it's got two charges. So this is a, a permanent vulnerable application. Whenever you need it for whatever reason, boom. Second of all, it also makes you berserk, right? In case you weren't lunging into the attack, that's how you got there first. Let's say you pulled into the attack first and you're already full and you don't need the lunging. Well, boom, you're already berserk. So this is also a guaranteed berserk prop. So we have a guaranteed vulnerable and a guaranteed berserk. Not to mention it's doing all that at the same time. And then on top of that, pull. Pull is amazing. Pull. Okay, pull is just amazing. Okay, you're pulling a big group of enemies into a little itty bitty ball and you're smacking them with one hammer while they have a guaranteed vulnerable, while you have a guaranteed berserk, right? It's just amazing. It's just amazing. And that was my other sleeper of what I, was going to do. If I was going to take one of these things off, I would have to be Iron Skin because, and I would just really push the cooldowns, make sure I completely had Unstoppable, because this is a second vulnerable application. I mean, there is other ways you can do it. Like, I don't have any points into Pressure Point. I don't really see any need to put points into Pressure Point, because even if I have points into Pressure Point, I still need Kick or Steel Grass for like later content, just to make sure everything's just getting applied vulnerable on. Iron Skin was so much fun. I don't know if it did very much tanking. I think that it might have. I really couldn't tell. I mean, I was playing around with Iron Skin makes you unstoppable and grants damage reduction. I mean, I got this on the amulet, which people are probably like, well, why in the world would you put that on your amulet? Well, it's actually pretty simple, actually. That's the best place I could figure out to put it in. Might sound weird or so what, I don't know, but like, I already had so much damage that I was like one or two shotting anything anyways. Even if I would have put any sort of damage source onto here, right? Like, whatever damage source, right? I'm still only going to be one-shotting or two-shotting enemies anyways, right? So I was trying to switch this here to make it so I could survive higher, because my issue was never damage. My issue was always surviving in higher content, right? Before I had this here, I actually, because this is all weird stuff, and I don't feel like people generally set this up like this. And I've tried every combination, had it every way. I'm not saying this is best. I'm just saying it's what I liked, what I enjoyed. Something else I actually had here, because let me show you real quick too. On my weapon, I have accelerating for increase attack speed. And now that Hammer of the Ancients is it was bugged. So for a short time, people were putting it on their two hands. I never had it on my two hand, fully taking advantage of the bug, because I never really even knew it was bugged until a week or two. So my Hammer of the Ancients has always been on my one hand, and I've always been one-shotting people with no DPS even on my two hand or my amulet, right? So I could have been putting, Edge Masters here. I could have been stunning people and taking advantage of it. But what do I need all that extra damage for when, I mean, I did try Edge Master here, and then I did try really low attack speed, and I did have a little bit more boss damage. Like, I could either, almost one shot a 60 or 70, but 60 or 70 boss, dungeon boss, not elite dungeon, the ending boss. I can almost one shot them, take them down, 60, 75, something like that. But other than that, didn't really help. I much preferred the attack speed. Anywho, though, what I was saying, another weird thing that I was doing here is, before I had put this here, I actually had basic skills grant attack speed, right? And dude, that was probably my favorite setup. My lunge was going crazy. My lunge was going crazy because the rate of how fast I could fill this thing up, and just how fast I was filling oh my goodness, what happened? How fast I was filling, you know, my bar up if it went empty was just amazing, because, you know, basic skills grant like 40% more attack speed on your amulets, just nuts. And then this is basically always procced, so I'm gonna round up to 100, like 90 to 100% basic perma time on basic skills, aka lunging, which is just making the fight hammer lunge, hammer lunge, hammer lunge go so much smoother, and just your overall damage. I had actually too, man, there was a few things I was starting to do here. My gloves, I just put this on because I didn't have this on. I had either this off or, you know, I had this off, but I was gonna take this. I was gonna take expectant over edge masters, because I thought expectant was proccing a little bit more than edge masters, because sometimes I'd catch myself with, like, you know, 50-75% fury, and I'm like, well, you know, how much damage am I really getting from that? And I was basing this off of a perfect roll. I don't have the perfect roll on there now, and that's because I was going to switch things around again and redo some more tests. But I did have perfects on here prior when I was testing, and perfects. I had a perfect edge master here, everywhere. I had everything, everywhere, everything, all the data. Anyways, the thing that I'm missing from here now to get both of these is, what is that called? Berserker Ripping, I think it's called, right? Berserker Ripping. Now, I don't have 3 points into No Mercy. This is another big part, because No Mercy is basically best in slot, right? Hold on, bro. Listen, No Mercy is basically best in slot, right? And everyone's putting a point into hamstring, right? Hold on a second. I actually, okay, am under the impression that everyone basically uses sword mastery, right? To make enemies bleed, da. Well, you might as well just continue going with axe mastery. I know originally people were using axe mastery. They went to sword mastery to make it bleed so you can get more damage from blah, 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 blah. Well, I would say what I was thinking of doing was just sticking with axe mastery, and not even what I was necessarily even thinking of doing. But hold on a second here. The whole thing is, I was like, why do I even need to make these enemies bleed? The only reason I really even need to make these enemies bleed before this got nerfed, right? I'm talking about pre-patch here. But the only reason I even needed to make them bleed was to proc No Mercy, you know? Oh, I'm sorry, slow them. Bleeding, yeah, your bleeding would slow. Boom. So, the thing about that is I have so much crit chance, and it's weird because this is actually going to apply even more so for a whirlwind barb, which I'm going to get into, right? So I have, let me see what I have here. I know my stats are all jacked up. I have 40 crit chance. Yeah, that's a lot of crit chance that I have. 40 base crit chance after I have taken almost all my crit chance off. You know, here's the thing. If I got 40 crit chance, right? I understand No Mercy is awesome. I get it. Crit chance is probably the one stat that I actually like. I love crit chance, right? But if I have, 40 crit chance, okay, and what's No Mercy going to give me here? No Mercy is going to give me, it would give me 9 crit chance. 9 crit chance. That would give me 18 crit chance on, if I had it on my amulet, right? That's nuts. That would be, and I'm at 40 right now, that would be almost 60 crit chance I was at. Not to mention, Where's this in the Paragon? Where is this in the Paragon? Let me move around. What is this? Swapping weapons has an 18% chance to cause the skill's damage to critically strike. Now, I don't know if that's 18% crit chance, whatever the hell that is. Even if I didn't have this, I was thinking about removing this because, I mean, if it wasn't for, I'm not talking about the top stats. I'm just talking about that modifier I have about in that crit chance, right? I already have peaking 60 crit chance without this. Without this little additive, whatever this crit 18% crit chance is, I already have 68 crit chance. What I'm getting at is I have way too much crit chance. Even with just the base 40 crit chance, right? Even with just the base 40 crit chance, I still have this, right? And if that is actually an 18% crit chance as well, that's even more nuts because that also would mean that even without them plus 6 ranks into, what is it? No Mercy, I would still have way too much crit chance. The thing that's even mind fucking me more, right, is whirlwind barbs are have much more crit chance. There's something. There's some sort of talent. Oh wait, is this it? Oh, here it is. Whirlwind's crit chance is increased by 8% for each second channeled, up to 24%. You've got to be kidding me. So you're telling me with this same gear that I have now, I can have what, 40 chance, and then what do we say, 58 chance with the plus 2 to no mercy, and then this I would be at what 58 and 24. Oh my god, I need a calculator. Somebody please help me in the comment section below. Tell me how much crit chance that would be. And that's not even including the crit chance from this. That would have been what, 58. Oh my god, my head. Please help me in the comment section. That would have been 58, 24, and another 18%. That would be if you were like lunging before attacking with your whirlwind. Dude, that is way too much crit chance when you could just be prioritizing that on something else. I don't understand what the point is having 100% crit chance. That's way too much crit chance. And yeah, I would probably say to go somewhere else. Usually when I attack, even with like 40 crit chance plus whatever, I generally only see yellow numbers. Anywho, anyways, was that it? I think that might have been it. Let me just scroll through here. I think that's it. Yeah, hey, if you liked the video, check out the rogue video. My rogue video is much shorter. It's like a minute. Yeah, check it out. I'm going to throw up other ones. I'm going to try to keep this short, though I'm gone. Smash.